Disney has been killing it as of late. I think the last 5 years they have really stepped it up. Even before that, but like look at the long list they have so far. They have Black Panther. They had Avengers: Infinity War. That broke the internet before Ralph broke the internet, to be honest. And they also put out Ant-Man and the Wasp. We got ourselves Incredible 2. What else is there?
Well, you can go to even movies that aren't necessarily the best movies, like Solo. It seems like all Disney does these days is they release a movie and it just prints money.
That is 100% true. Like, I think Black Panther and Avengers 4 alone made more than any other movie so far, right?
It's true. It's been a great year for Disney, let's just say that.
100%.
And they still got Mary Poppins coming out.
Oh my goodness, can't wait for that.
Yes, I am very excited for Mary Poppins. What did you like about Wreck-It Ralph? Because I would agree that is probably one of my favorite movies I've seen this year so far.
There's so much. What's not to like about Wreck-It Ralph? That's the real question. What I really liked about it is I really like the relationship between Vanellope and Ralph. I like the little references to past social concepts and current social concepts. Love the little internet memes. They really knocked it out of the park on those. What about you? What did you like about it?
There, like you said, are very many things to like about this movie. But I'm going to look at the details that the director and the writers put into making this movie. Like, I was shocked by the little things, the little details all across when Vanellope and Ralph get into the internet. You see all the buildings, the eBay building, the Amazon building, the Google building, which of course is the biggest building because we know Google runs the world with Disney.
100%.
You have the online gaming little areas of the internet, the social media the bridge to get to the social media world where BuzzFeed. You have the Disney location, which I'm sure we're gonna get into. You had even details like ads, right? Like spam throughout. And of course the ad blockers that beat up the spam. You have like this concept of likes and how likes equal money and heart. You have search engines, which were hilarious. And of course, I don't know if anyone else caught a couple little things, but there's the IMDb place, which I absolutely loved. And at the bottom of the internet, at the very base, you have the dial-up connection area. So again, just those little specific details are really what make it a movie really good. So to me, the one thing that really stood out with those specific details, and I know I'm missing a ton, but that was one thing that really jumped out to me.
That's great. I also like to add, they actually added a wonderful song into the mix-up, and so a little bit of a spoiler here, even though I already said that, but just want to let you guys know. So Vanellope, it's actually in the trailer as well. Vanellope meets the Disney princesses, and she is a little confused about where she wants to belong at that point in the movie. So the Disney princesses tell her, "Okay, just look into a water fountain, and you'll find your calling." She does that, and then they proceed to make one of the best songs I've ever heard. It's called A Place in Slaughter Race. I wish I had the lyrics, but I do not have it. I would sing it along right now. It's one of the best songs I've heard.
It is good. It's going on my Disney playlist as soon as I have time to download it or get it legally.
Every November Disney movie always has the one song that I really enjoy. They had Moana's
How Far I'll Go.
Oh my goodness.
And I know you love Shiny too. I know you're a big Shiny fan, but How Far I'll Go.
And How Far I Go.
Tears. And then
great.
Coco. Well, Coco was December last year, but still fantastic. But isn't that the thing about Disney? Like, great Disney movies have the great Disney song. Like, you can go right back to the first animated Disney movie, Snow White and Hi Ho, or Someday My Prince Will Come. Like, it just, every Disney movie has the classics have that great song that you just been singing. It's just amazing.
100%. And I just love that it can reach every audience still. Like, your parents can enjoy something, your kids can enjoy it at the same time. It's just, they reach out to everybody. They just have a great formula right now, and just don't break that formula. Just keep it going.
And that's so important. But I want to get back to, you setting up the song with Vanellope meeting the Disney princesses. I think it very much merits a lot of mention that the Disney princesses probably steal the show in a lot of ways. Like, They deserve their own movie, just the Disney princesses together. They were fantastic. Their very first scene when they meet Vanellope, they ask her who she is, and she's like, "Well, Vanellope's like, well, I'm a princess of sorts." And all of the little princesses were like trying to figure out what kind of princess she was. So like, you have all the ones that have some daddy issues that are like, did your stepmom try to like kill you? Obviously, being Snow White, Cinderella.
Can you talk to animals?
All the ones like Cinderella.
We got the how are you? Oh, sorry, I'm at a loss for words here. But Mulan, she had the. Are you? Oh my goodness. My bad.
But you've got Ariel, who's like, hey, did an evil sea witch take your voice and try to steal your boyfriend? And I love Vanellope's answer, no, who would do that? And they really did kind of make Ariel seem like the kind of dipsy one or ditzy one of the group.
I think that belongs to Meredith and Brave from Brave, to be honest. In her scene, she goes into a hardcore Scottish accent. Nobody can understand her.
Including the audience.
Including the audience.
I had no idea what she said.
And the princesses. And then Penelope asks everyone, like, what's she saying? And they just kind of whisper, we don't know.
She's from a different studio. But that's priceless. It's brilliant. And that's, again, it's the little things that Disney does that makes their brand and their movies so good. Like, even when the princesses meet Vanellope, right? All the princesses, they're in their normal, fancy dresses. And then you have Vanellope, who's got, like, little pieces of candy in her hair, wearing sweats. And what's the first thing that these princesses say to Vanellope? Oh, what you're wearing looks so comfortable.
This dress is very strange. It's foreign in our lands. What's going on here?
So they all get Cinderella gets her animals to make them nice, warm sweats. And it's not even the fact that it's a funny scene and they're making fun of themselves. It's the little details in which Disney does to incorporate in these dresses.
Yeah, especially like if you've seen the shirts they're wearing. I know for Moana, he has a shirt that says shiny, and Elsa has her shirt says let it go. So it's all reflective of their personalities and movies as well.
And obviously we've only seen the movie once, but if you rewatch it again or you get more opportunity to slow it down, you probably can see what each one of them are wearing and how it relates to their character and their story. It's quite brilliant.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know where to go with this Disney, man. It's just so insane how like they always just who's writing there? Like no wonder they're making money.
Plot, just right? 100%. Plot, story, it's important. But even in the end with them, last thing with the princesses, I promise. But again, I said if you're planning on seeing this movie, the princesses, in my opinion, they steal the show.
It's definitely the best part of the movie. It was my favorite part.
Oh, yeah. And then at the end, when Ralph is falling to his death, it's the princesses all together in action using one of their like aspects to them. So you have like Elsa making like an ice slide, and
you have Moana controlling the water to make that ice slide.
Oh right, yes.
And then you have Ariel swimming in it.
You've got what's her face? Snow White using the poison apples to melt down the wood so that the shirt that Snow White's dress that Ralph is going to fall into stays down so Ralph doesn't fall. And then
you also have Sleeping Beauty providing the wonderful bed for Ralph to sleep on.
And then, of course, when Ralph falls on the bed, he's sleeping, it's Tiana and her frog that kisses Ralph awake. Just brilliant.
Just great writing. See what great writing does? This is how you write a movie. You have to have good writing first, a good plot. Once you have those, people are going to like your movie.
So talk a little bit about the character, about which character really stuck out to you in the movie? Like, which one do you relate to the most, or did you enjoy watching the most? Maybe that's a better question to ask.
That's a great question. I'm not gonna lie, Ralph was the best person to watch in this. I felt the most with Ralph. He really grew as a character in this movie, I feel. He, as you tell in the older movies, he wasn't well liked for about 30 plus years, and then he finally started making friends. Vanellope was the first person that actually truly accepted him, for what he was before everybody else did. So he has a very close relationship with Vanellope.
You know, I got to be honest. When I was in the middle of watching the movie, Ralph is probably the villain of this movie in a lot of ways, right? It's him that goes into the dark web, which again, the little details about how the internet work.
That's
and he
another
goes
great
to get
part
a
of the movie.
virus. Pardon, sorry?
That's another great part of the movie.
It is.
as well.
The dark web aspect is very good. But he gets this virus to destroy the what was that, slaughterhouse race? Is that was
Slaughterhouse. Yes.
Slaughterhouse. The
Slaughter race. What am I saying? Sorry.
the online gaming of the internet, and almost kills Vanellope in the process. And then, of course, the virus gets out and starts to destroy the internet. So in a lot of ways, Ralph is the villain, but in a lot of ways, I get it. To me, Ralph's decision makes sense. In a lot of ways, he's been especially if you've seen the first one, and when he's in BuzzFeed and he's reading all these comments about how everyone hates him, it just kind of reminds that he spent, as Xavier said, all of this time alone, 30 plus years by himself while everyone else had friends. And, in the first movie, he meets Vanellope, his only friend. The most important thing to him might not even be Vanellope. It might be the candy, the You're My Hero candy that he wears all the time. Because when she throws it down, he loses it. And for him, this loss of a friend could, if Vanellope decides to stay on the internet, is back to the old time. And, losing a friend is change. And we all know change. We don't like change, right? Change is scary. Change is bad.
Nobody likes change.
Nobody does. So he's had 6 years of perfection, and we see this at the beginning when everything's good, right? Ralph is very content for everything to stay exactly as it is, whereas Vanellope, who lived those 30 years as an outcast, who likes change, who's more adventurous, makes sense that she'd want to leave her three-track race, because who cares? There's only 3 tracks. It's boring for her. She wants the idea of mobile gaming.
Yeah, honestly, we can tell that very early in the movie, she's not she's not in a place where she feels content. And this is very weird considering that, another spoiler alert, that her entire game, Ralph accidentally breaks her game. So another aspect as where Ralph becomes the villain in the movie, where he gets Vanellope accidentally breaks the steering wheel. So one of the first parts of the movie is that they have to go get the steering wheel. But during that aspect, Vanellope, she wasn't that upset that she lost the game. She was more upset that she felt lost. He's like, I'm running the same 3 tracks and I know it off by heart. I need a sense of adventure.
And don't forget, she all knew all the shortcuts too.
She knew all the shortcuts. She always won. She felt like something was missing in her life. She felt like she needed to have a new home, right? Income Slaughter Race. This is her right up her alley. This game's kind of like, if any of you guys played Grand Theft Auto Online, it's a little bit like that, right? There's races, people are getting killed. It's not for kids, but it's pretty funny seeing Vanellope. She has candy in her hair, and all these guys are hard and rugged. They got tattoos, they got guns, they have horns. There's fire, blood. Animals are getting eaten on the street by a shark.
She's loving every second of it. Just every second loving it.
You can just see her take it in and just fall in love with the area, with that area, right?
And she's the smallest character there, and then Ralph, who's this big, huge character who's supposed to be this huge villain, is terrified. We need to get out of here. It's scary. And Vanellope's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's have fun.
It's like having one character from what's that? A show on Treehouse, Timothy Goes to School, just one of those characters meets Grand Theft Auto. That's what it looks like, right? Or Barney or something like that, right? So anyways, she gets upset. She sees this track. She falls in love. She meets a character on there. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I forget.
Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot's character. She meets her and she falls in love with her. Not actual in love, but you know what I mean. She falls in love with her character. She thinks, oh my goodness, this girl's so cool. She does what she wants. She has her own crew. she's racing all the time, and everything's different. Every day's a new journey, which technically it is with online games nowadays.
Add new
right?
tracks all the time, right? New places to go.
Updates constantly.
It meets with Vanellope's character completely.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't even. Me. I always thought she was gonna come back, but I think you called it that she was not gonna come back.
I knew it from very early on. It just it makes sense to her character. She's not happy. So even before her game broke, I'm like, oh, it was being written that her and Ralph were going through two different times. Ralph doesn't want change, not looking for change, and very content. But Ralph is also dependent on his game, as we found out in the first one, right? If Ralph's gone, the game falls apart.
Yeah.
Whereas Vanellope was different. She wasn't even part of the game for the 30 years.
Yeah.
And being more adventurous, it just made sense that she wasn't coming back. Especially as soon as I realized that they could stay in the internet,
Yeah.
it made sense to me.
I thought they'd be a virus or something like that before I saw the movie, but okay. Well, we see how Ralph actually breaks the internet. We'll get to that part.
But it's funny because, like, his fear of insecurity or his fragileness, it's relatable to a lot of people. And again, which is why he's not your traditional Disney villain. Like, when you think of great Disney movies, a lot of times you think of this great Disney villain, which Wreck-It Ralph 2 is missing. It's like I think we both said, Ralph is kind of this villain, but it's a relatable villain. It's a villain that we can all understand when maybe we do this with boyfriends or girlfriends or with friends or with parents or siblings sometimes, where they're thinking of leaving, and you're like, no, you can't leave, and you try to sabotage it a little bit. We've seen it in a lot of other movies, and
100%.
Yeah, and I think it's relatable.
People don't want to see their friendships going into separate directions, right? Everyone likes to be in their safe space, and once their safe space starts to have not so safe space anymore, sorry for lack of better words, they start to react in negative ways, usually, sometimes positive, but in Ralph's case, this is very negative.
And I think the director and writers did a great job building that empathy for Ralph. I would have liked to see it a little bit more. I think we talked about this after the movie.
The comment section,
yeah,
correct?
They did a great job showing, like, Ralph go into the BuzzFeed's comments where Ralph is a villain, right, in his game, and everyone's trashing it. Oh, Ralph's a loser. He's and someone who's insecure, fragile, who spent 30 years thinking he is the villain. He doesn't have any friends. And then the next thing he does is hear that his friend wants to leave him and never see him again, even though she doesn't actually say that because her biggest fear is, like, letting Ralph down.
Yeah, what does Ralph think? That's what she's thinking. The reason why she's hesitant to leave is, what would Ralph do? And we see that it's very adamant that she should worry what Ralph does, because he goes into the dark web and releases a virus and almost kills her.
He does something rashly, as we all tend to do when things are changing quickly and we don't have time. Like, he also doesn't have time to talk to her, right? Like, to kind of listen to her. So he rashly makes a decision, which I think, again, is very human. And again, Disney's really good at writing. I know it's kind of a broken record on this, but it's true.
Yeah, she even gives him early warning signs that she's thinking of leaving, like we said, based on their conversation. And he just kept brushing it off. He's like, "No, what do you mean? It's great here. We drink beer every day. We do the same thing all the time. It's great. It's wonderful. I love root beer. We go play in Tron. Oh, we can't play anymore because it's broken. But, and then when the internet gets introduced, everybody's shocked, right? And I just love the introduction of characters. The way Sonic talked was just... I loved seeing him in there. It's like, yeah, the internet's this cool, radical place, and it's the greatest place ever.
And Vanellope would agree, and Ralph would not agree. He just wants to go home, back to his game, back to his comfort level. But it makes sense. 30 years of being treated like trash, literally, would kind of make anyone kind of be disingenuous to losing what made your life good. Even though everyone has liked Ralph now, we're at that point where he doesn't realize that he's made an impact on other people. Which gets me to this question: do you think what Ralph does, is it forgivable? Like, he almost kills Vanellope, he almost destroys the internet, almost destroys the Slaughterhouse game. Is that a forgivable thing?
That's a very good question. The way I would see it, if that was me, I'm petty, I would probably not forgive that because I almost died, and that's That's red flags, you know. Nowadays in our society, we always have red flags, and if we see too many red flags, we press the eject button and leave immediately. But it depends, right? They've been friends for after the whole fiasco. They've been friends for 6 years, right? In time, he does heal all wounds. So I feel that I felt like she forgave him a little bit too fast. But think about this: this is a movie as well. So if this is realistic, it'd probably be 6 years or so. But I think it could be forgivable. It might be forgivable. Me personally, I wouldn't forgive, but I can see why another person would forgive it.
You know, it's very funny because again, Disney does this is a new territory for Disney, right? Because Disney, when you think of Disney villains, they're not redeemable, right? Your Jafars, your Scars, your Ursulas, they normally all bite the dust in the end, and that's normally how Disney runs things. Yeah. But this movie, they chose, and Disney doesn't really make sequels, right? In terms of Disney movies, not Pixar, just Disney movies that have gone to have gone to theaters. Only one other movie has had a sequel, and that's The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under. Yeah, sure, Aladdin and Little Mermaid have had sequels, but direct-to-video doesn't count. Disney chose to bring this movie to theaters and take their hero from the first one and kind of turn them into a villain. So I think there's understanding, too. You've known someone for 6 years. You know that what they did isn't out of malice. Whereas when you look at, let's say, a character like Scar killed Mufasa not out of, you know, accidental thing.
That was his brother. Let's put that to you, right. That was his own brother.
Was going to kill Simba too. There was malice out of that. Yeah. Ursula acted out of malice. Cruella de Vil acted out of malice. Ralph doesn't. Ralph acts from an area of insecurity. And yes, we can even, granted, we're the audience and we don't get the Penelope doesn't get the benefit of seeing it, but he was very clear in that dark web. This won't hurt anyone, right? He just wanted to slow down the game.
Times.
So and again, I think that's the director and writer giving the audience some empathy towards Ralph's character. So I do think it's forgivable for that reason, because Vanellope probably knows Ralph and knows there was no malice there. And it worked out.
And Ralph isn't the brightest guy.
No, he is not
either. So that may have been why she would forgive him as well. As he asked, "Does this virus not harm anything?" And we all know viruses destroy, right? That's their purpose.
And that brings me to another thing that you kind of picked up in the middle of the movie when they're at the search engine. Ralph's kind of like yelling a little bit, and the search engine's not having any of this. Like, he's like, "You're kind of rude." And Vanellope, this small younger character, goes right and be like, "We're looking for a steering wheel for her game," and they found it, or the search engine found it in like 10 seconds.
100%, right? Like we said, he's not the brightest guy in the room, and you know how when you're searching in the search engine, there's an autofill. So he's trying to look for eBay, and then he'd be like, and then he'd be like, "Umbrella?" Something like that, right? And then he'll be like, "What?" And he's like, "What a con?" Or something. Like, he just keeps butting into him, and he's just like, "What's going on here?" And he starts to get a little bit angry because he thinks he's making fun of him, right? Like I said, he's not the bravest guy, smartest guy in the world, but he's got a heart of gold. And what he does, it's like you said earlier, it's not from malice. It's more from just lack of a better judgment and
rash. It's very rash.
Rash, yes.
So I guess that leads me to another question: is Ralph Breaks the Internet better than Wreck-It Ralph, in your opinion?
Right now, because I'm like the typical consumer, every new is better. New is better. As long as it's new, it's better. So right now, I'm going to say Wreck-It Ralph 2 is the better movie. My one issue is I don't know if it will hold up in time as much as the original Wreck-It Ralph, because of some of the memes are very current. So it could go say 50 years from now, I feel like Wreck-It Ralph 1 will hold up more than Wreck-It Ralph 2. Because a lot of the characters in that are iconic, like your Street Fighters, your Sonic. Who else was in there that I cannot remember?
Bowser had a
Bowser.
Role.
Oh yes, Bowser.
When he was in all the village plays.
Yeah, Sonic. Those guys are all iconic video game characters that we all know and love, or hate. Some of us.
And even the game Wreck-It Ralph is or Fix It Felix, sorry, is based on Donkey Kong, right? So like even that aspect to it, it's relatable. See, I don't get me wrong, I really liked Ralph Breaks the Internet, but I got to go with the first one, and
that's a fair point.
And my reasoning is simple. I think the second one's got a lot more detail, but the first one's got the better plot. The second movie lacks this strong central story. There's a lot of little things going on, a lot of good character development. Ending's a little anticlimactic in the second one. It's a little rushed even. Whereas the first one is a journey. It's really a hero's journey, even though it's from the villain's perspective, right? You have a guy who's sick and tired of being alone, so he's going to look for something.
Being the villain. Yeah. Everybody treating him like crap. Everyone like, we love Felix, and Wreck-It Ralph, he's bad because he's doing his job. That's his job in the game at the end of the day, right?
He goes to support groups and he has thoughts, right? Again, not the smartest person. So to me,
I love the support groups. Just gotta say, it's so good.
It was so good, and so to me, when I'm looking at it, and like I said earlier on, plot to me brings it a little bit ahead. Not that I didn't like Ralph Breaks the Internet, but if we're going towards picking, I'm gonna go with the plot movie.
That's very fair. So I feel like the fair statement is ask me that question in 5 years so I can rewatch both, and then I'll tell you which one I find is better.
Always a great question. Or we can rank all Disney movies and see where we fit in 5 years.
Just this is a little bit off topic, but like for the longest time I thought Dragon Ball Z was better than Dragon Ball, and then I rewatched Dragon Ball and I was like, that is the better story.
We don't have time to get into that discussion, but right? Dragon Ball Z is so much better. But no. Can this movie have a sequel? Do you see is there a potential for a third part or no?
That's a good question. Let's see. I believe I don't think this needs a sequel because Ralph has come to terms with friendships growing. Gal Gadot's character said a very good line that sometimes the best of friends don't have the same goals, same interests, they don't have the same journeys, right? I feel that you don't need the movie to have a third sequel, but that's based on what do you feel?
I'm not a big fan of sequels in general to movies that don't necessarily need them. Action movies always can have a sequel, but technically animated movies like this shouldn't. Now, I was wrong about Wreck-It Ralph too. I didn't think that deserved a sequel. I was wrong. Disney tends to be very
find
good.
A way.
And I trust Disney right now. So if Disney thinks this movie can have a sequel, who might argue with them? I might like the idea of using the universe of Wreck-It Ralph to create a sequel. Maybe not with Ralph. Maybe Ralph being in the movie but not a central character. Maybe focusing more on the internet aspect to it, or a different game in a different area where like Ralph has a cameo. That might be how I would approach a sequel to this movie.
That's fair. That's I feel like I said, I didn't think that they should have a sequel to Toy Story 3, but they did that, so we'll see what happens there.
Is there anything else from this movie you want to discuss?
No, I don't think so. I feel like it's a great movie. Definitely recommend, and take your children, take your wives, take everybody. Just show it to everybody.
Yeah, it's not just for children. The true magic of Disney is that every age group can take something different out of this movie, from kids to teens to adults to seniors. You will take something out of it. Can we end with just one final thing? One little cameo that touched me.
All right, let's end it with your little cameo.
Do you know who I'm going to say?
No, I'm actually not. I'm at a loss for words. Let's hear it.
When they were in the Disney universe, they had a little cameo from Groot and from some Star Wars characters, but I think there was one character that I don't know if it was always planned to have it in there, but it just worked. Stan Lee had a little cameo in it, and that was just touching from a time like this.
Oh my goodness! How could I forget that?
You know what? Maybe you're not a big comic book guy as you think.
Those are fighting words. Like, after this, I don't know what's gonna happen to you. I think this is the end of the podcast, and see you later, guys. I think I confessed murder on here.
Better hope nothing happens to me before the next time we come on the air.